Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to Summer of Sport 2024. There's a bit of a curveball for you, isn't it? This is an event that was created by Mark at Book Time with Elvis. He created the event, he wished us all Godspeed, and then he decamped from BookTube. And I kept doing videos. I kept reading lots and lots of sports-related fiction and nonfiction. That's what the whole event is about. But after a while, it started to feel odd. It started to feel weird that I was doing an event when the event's creator had disappeared from the platform. It'd be one thing if the event's creator or some of the event's hosts were not making many videos on the event. That I'm used to. You've all got lives to lead, after all. But miraculously, Mark has returned. He's returned to BookTube. And since he's back to BookTube, and since I haven't stopped reading sports-related books, I thought I would do an update for Summer of Sport. And I won't say that this is all the reading that I've been done in the week that I've been silent on the subject, but unfortunately, thanks to the Amazon algorithm, it's a large part of the reading that I've been doing in the time that I've been absent, which is gay hockey romance. I started off with gay hockey romance, and apparently the algorithm just doesn't want to let you go when you start off that way. So last night I read a book by Lauren Blakely. I'm gathering from what little I have looked, that Lauren Blakely is an example of what I talk about a lot on this channel, which is successful indie author. And how you get successful. You get successful by knowing your fans. You get successful by being in their chat groups, by being on their Facebook groups, by even writing the kinds of books they want to read. You're not dealing with mainstream publishing anymore. You're just doing it yourself. And building a wonderful community along the way. I get that strong impression. I should look more into her, but not if it means reading more gay hockey romance. I think I'm done with gay hockey romance for Summer of Sport. But I read Scoring with Him last night for Summer of Sport. This is a gay hockey romance starring a young man named Grant, who has been successfully drafted into the major leagues, the San Francisco Cougars. None of the easy jokes, please. He's been drafted at the San Francisco Cougars, and it's thrilling to him. It's been like so many other hockey boys out there in the world, and their back lots and their cement lots and whatnot. It has been his dream forever to go pro. That element of his character is rather touchingly done. In fact, Grant Blackwood is rather touchingly done in this book. It's an extra cherry on top, no pun intended, you filthy-minded little marmosets. It's been an extra cherry on top that he gets drafted by the San Francisco Cougars because they have a player. His name is Declan Steele. So you would expect that his name would be Declan Steele. He's older than Grant, about a decade older. He's a superstar with the team. He's legendarily sexy. And Grant has had a thing for him in his mind, and perhaps other places in his bedroom, for pretty much the whole of his adult life. And certainly the whole of his, what it turns out is very brief life as an out gay man. Grant is not familiar with being gay at all. He has recently really come to terms with the fact that that's his nature. So it's thrilling in one sense that he is now a team member with Declan Steele, this guy that he has been perving to for so long. But it's also an incredible challenge because he doesn't want to blow it. Again, no pun intended. Do you mind? Keep your mind out of the gutter. He doesn't want to screw things up. Okay, maybe it's me. Maybe there's no way to talk about this without the double entendre. He doesn't want to foul up his one shot at the big leagues. By giving the wrong signals, by overcomplicating things with Declan. That is true in this book. This is a baseball romance. I'm not sure I made that clear at the beginning. Gay hockey romance got me here. I was working my way around the gay hockey romance to get to this thing. Because those are the bulk of the recommendations, but these two are baseball players. Not that it matters. The game is the least part of any of these books, most of the time. But Grant's hopes of being able to walk that fine line are imperiled even more when he and Declan become workout partners, which means they're spending 15 hours a day together. And I don't know if you've ever had a workout partner, but their hands are all over each other all the time. and this leads to friendship and intimacy. And that's a problem because Declan is out. He is an out athlete, and he has lots of rules that he believes he has needed to live. One is that he doesn't engage in any kind of hanky-panky in season. Another is that he has pretty strict rules about any kind of fraternization with his teammates. And so on and so forth, right down the line, to the point where you get the sense that a lot of these rules don't stem from baseball, that they stem from a fractured and maybe dark personal past. That turns out to be true, and it turns out to have a milder version that's true of Grant as well. But they get closer and closer anyway, until Grant asks him the all-important question. Not can I score with you? That's just the cliche that I guess these things all have to have as a title. But rather, will Declan be his first? Grant has never had a gay sexual experience. And he wants Declan to be his first. And there's all sorts of psychological interplay here. I don't want to make this sound more meaty than it is. Again, no pun intended. Because it's not. It's not. Whatever meat is in this book, you'll easily be able to beat it. The tension between the two of them, the intimacy between the two of them, escalates all throughout the book. And I was getting towards the end of the book, and I was thinking, well, okay, how on earth are you going to do this? And it turns out Lauren Blakely doesn't do it. This ends in a cliffhanger. So this is not a full book on its own. The plot is not resolved. Nothing is resolved. You have to go on to the next book. Which I may or may not do. I may or may not do it. This was fairly good. For what it is, it need not have had the background of baseball. It need not have had the background of sports at all. I don't quite know why it did, except maybe that's a thriving subgenre. The only main problem that I had with it is that it's the baseball romance equivalent of the TV adaptation of Bridgerton, in that it's a complete fantasy of inclusiveness and acceptance and whatnot, when that does not exist in Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball has plenty of gay players, but it is an intensely homophobic organization because it knows its base. And although you may be a baseball fan, just go to a big game, a big Major League game at a big packed auditorium, and you will see that you are not the target audience. And you'll see who the target audience is. And they don't want an out player. They would pelt that, even if the player were the key to victory on their team, they would pelt an out player with garbage when he trotted onto the field, if they didn't just simply shoot him right away, his first appearance after the announcement. I would be willing to bet that a Trump fan in the audience would shoot him dead, even at risk of being shot themselves or going to jail for the rest of their lives, never seeing their own children again. It's more important to... So you have to put up with that. I don't know that it's much to put up with. You'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy that element, but it's not real world. It's not the real world at all, which is one of the little problems that I have with this whole subgenre of sports gay romance is that there's so much more potential here that most of these things just avoid. They don't take it up at all. For all I know, Lauren Blakely does take it up in other books. I don't think I've read many books by her. I think maybe one, but I don't think it was a sports romance. But anyway, I might read it again for this one. But I'm thinking that for the rest of Summer of Sport, after all, Mark's reappearance on the scene is late in the season. So I'm thinking for the rest of Summer of Sport, I want to deal with actual sports books, fiction or nonfiction, but not this. You could take the baseball out of this book, and it wouldn't have changed anything. So, you know, a small town owner of an apple vineyard could have the same rules that Declan Steele does. So I think I will not waste the rest of Summer of Sport by reading books that aren't about sports. This is not fundamentally about sports. So I don't know what my next scouting report will be. I will search around and find something for tonight in an attempt to make the most of Summer of Sport before it goes away, now that it's back. So I'll wrap this up for now, and I'll see you then with another book. Thank you, BookTube.